Have you ever just looked at the economy and felt like the game is, well, rigged? You know, that feeling that no matter how hard everyone works, all the wealth just seems to flow upwards into fewer and fewer hands. Today, we're diving into a massive work that says, hey, that's not an accident, it's a feature, and it's built right into the DNA of money itself. Our source for this explainer is Stephen Zarlenga's incredible book, The Lost Science of Money. Now, Zarlenga wasn't just some casual observer. He directed the American Monetary Institute and poured decades of his life into this research. And what he came up with isn't just a history of coins and bills. It's a completely radical reinterpretation of all of history. He basically argues that the real story of human power, the main struggle through the ages, it isn't really about kings or armies. It's about who gets to control money. Zarlenga really frames the problem with this powerful line right from the book's jacket. And it hits home, right? It's a feeling a lot of us can relate to. But he says this isn't some new problem. It's the end result of a fundamentally wrong idea about money that's been dominant for centuries, an idea that he believes hides a secret kind of power. And that really gets us to the core question we're tackling here. What if that basic story we all learned in school, the one about people bartering chickens for wheat until money was invented, what if that's all just a convenient myth? A story designed to cover up a much deeper truth about who's really calling the shots. Let's dig in. So, to uncover what Zarlenga calls the lost science, we first have to tear down the story we've all been told about where money comes from. We need to go right back to the beginning, to an origin story that, as it turns out, might not be true at all. Okay, so what you're seeing here are two completely different origin stories for money. On the left, you've got the familiar one. Money is a thing, a commodity, like gold, that just popped up naturally to make trading easier. But on the right is what Zarlenga's historical research points to. Money didn't come from trade. It was an idea, an abstract tool created by law and society to get organized. Big difference. And the key to this whole idea is a Greek word, nomisma. This is so important. It doesn't mean a shiny piece of metal. It means money as a creature of law. It's a token, a concept, whose value only exists because a government or legal authority says it does. It's a social invention, not a physical commodity. And this isn't some newfangled theory. We're talking ancient wisdom here. Over 2,000 years ago, Aristotle absolutely nailed it. Money, he said, exists by law, not by nature. And think about the power in that statement. If we as a society create money through our laws, that means we also have the power to control it, to change it, and to make sure it works for everyone. It's a tool, not some force of nature we're helpless against. So, is there any proof of this lost science actually working in the real world? Well, Zarlenga points us straight to the early Roman Republic. For him, this is the best example in history of a society that truly got it, that understood money as a legal tool and used that knowledge to build an unbelievable amount of power. Just look at how this evolved. Rome's money system wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate, step-by-step government project. They start with just crude lumps of bronze. Then their kings methodically turn this everyday metal into a true nomisma, a sophisticated legal money. And here's the genius move. By using common bronze, not precious gold or silver, they kept their monetary system independent. They didn't have to rely on the Eastern empires that controlled all the gold. The Roman Republic was in charge of its own money. And you can literally see that evolution right here. You go from these rough, marked bars to these carefully cast coins. The value was never really about the chunk of bronze in your hand. It was about the stamp on it, the legal promise of the Roman state that declared, this is money. It was basically a public utility. And the bottom line is, this system worked. It flat out worked. By keeping money as a legal tool made from a cheap metal, Rome could fund its legions, build its amazing infrastructure, and, this is key, it prevented a super rich elite from getting a stranglehold on the state. The science was very much alive. Okay, so if this system was so amazing, what happened? Why is it a lost science today? Well, this is the big turning point in the story. This is where Rome's whole philosophy of money started to change, and it led to some really devastating consequences down the road. Say hello to the silver denarius. Now, this coin was introduced during a really desperate time, the war against Hannibal, and it marked a massive shift.
Unlike the bronze coins, this thing was treated like a commodity. Its value wasn't just in the government's decree. People started to believe its value came from the precious silver inside it. It was a huge change, from money as an idea to money as a valuable thing.
And according to Zarlenga, the fallout was catastrophic for the Republic. You can see it all laid out here. Suddenly, power wasn't with the government anymore. It shifted to the wealthy few who owned the silver mines. Wealth started to concentrate like never before, creating a new super-rich class. These massive estates, the latifundia, swallowed up the small family farms that were the backbone of Rome. And ultimately, the state lost control of its own money supply, making the whole system unstable. Okay, that's a really interesting history lesson for sure. But what does a bunch of ancient Roman coins have to do with us, right now? Well, Zarlenga's entire point is to connect that old story directly to our world today, to show us that this lost science is more important now than ever. This right here is the heart of it. The lost science is just this simple, powerful idea. Money is a human invention. It's a creation of law. It's a public utility, just like our power grid or our water systems. And it should be designed and controlled by the public for the public good, not for private profit. So when you look at history through Zarlenga's eyes, you start to see this one epic battle playing out over and over again. It's the fight between these two totally opposite ideas. Is money a democratic tool of the state, controlled by us, or is it a scarce commodity, controlled by private interests who profit from it? Understanding that fight, he says, is the real key to any meaningful reform. And that leaves us with one final, and I think pretty critical question. Zarlenga's book isn't just a history book. It's a wake-up call. He's arguing that by letting money become this mysterious commodity controlled by private banking, we've handed over an incredible amount of public power. And to get that power back, we first have to understand what money really is, a tool of law. That knowledge, he says, is the weapon we need to protect ourselves. So looking at the world around you, who do you think is winning that battle today?